in to the CHGO White Sox podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. We have a larger panel than usual. It's usually three, and that's not, you guys look great.
Thank you. Yeah, backhanded compliment right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually got three of us, but now we have a fourth. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. Diehards, if you did miss it, there is a little Vinnie newsletter out to you, so you can learn on some funny stuff from spring training, including some Andrew Benintendi and Joe Kelly back and forth. Got Jared Wyllys. You can follow him on Twitter at JWyllys, Y's instead of I's, when you're looking that up on Twitter. And that's Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at ActonWell23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And our producer, Stephen Nicholas. Great day. It feels like we're getting even closer to opening day because Steven's producing us. So a nice sight there. And what's up, Connor and Melissa in the chat. Today we're going to recap a little bit about the World Baseball Classic. Cuba played and lost to the Netherlands. I was wrong not only about Cuba, but also about Chinese Taipei. They got smoked by Panama.
Panama! Team Van Halen is off to a rip-roaring start.
Thank you to Carlos Lee.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Probably. We're going to talk a little bit about Tim Anderson and his playing time, path to playing time for Team USA, and how much of Tim we'll actually see in the 2023 World Baseball Classic. And then finally, we'll do a little bit of projections. Actually, we'll start with the projections. Why don't we get into it? We projected who will lead the team in hits in 2023 2 shows ago, and today we're going to be doing innings pitched. So let's jump into last year. Let's talk a little bit about who led the team last year, what we were looking at. Obviously, Dylan Cease was the leader. Started the most games for the White Sox last season, 184 innings pitched, 32 games started. Next up, Johnny Cueto. Or actually, it was Lucas Giolito. My bad. Lucas Giolito at 161 2/3. Then Johnny Cueto, and the one difference there between Johnny Cueto and Lucas Giolito. Lucas Giolito, 161 innings pitched, 30 games. Johnny Cueto, 158 innings pitched, 25 games. Lance Lynn, 121 2/3 innings pitched, and Michael Kopech, 119 1/3 innings pitched. Look at 2021, the White Sox had 5 starters over 130 innings pitched. Didn't get that in 2022. Is this the biggest or most important group of players, like infield, outfield, starting pitchers, relief pitchers, catchers? Like, what is the most important position group, and is it the starting pitchers?
I mean, in a vacuum with every team in baseball, I would say yes, starting pitching is the most important position group. When it comes to the White Sox and the 2023 White Sox, I think what you're looking at is some confidence that the starting rotation is going to do its job or go a long way toward doing its job and having a lot of success. So if you're asking me the question, what is the most important position group for the White Sox in 2023? Yeah, sure, the starting pitching could carry them to the playoffs and deep into the playoffs perhaps, but that's kind of what we're expecting, right? So I think the who needs to answer the bell part of it is definitely on the offensive side. If you're going to cut it up into infield or outfield, I guess you say outfield just because Robert and Eloy are so important. Benintendi's a new guy, but you could put the exact same criteria on the infield. Boy, TA needs to have a bounce back. Moncada needs to have a bounce back. Andrew Vaughn needs to be better than he was a year ago. So I think if you want to use the word pressure, and boy, they hate the word pressure in a professional baseball clubhouse, but if you want to use the word pressure, the pressure is on the offense to carry their load because the starting pitching is being expected probably to do that.
Yeah, I think of the areas of the roster that I'm least worried about, it's the starting pitching. It's the outfield is a lot of it, and a lot of that relates to health. Do you get healthy seasons from Robert? Do you get a healthy season from Jimenez? And then bounce back seasons. So as far as like when I look at who I'm expecting to perform, I spend the least amount of time worrying over whether or not starting pitching is going to be there because I'm most confident that those guys are going to do their jobs. There's a lot of veterans on that staff, and that's part of the reason why. And there's a lot of, the resumes are pretty long with some of those guys too. So when I'm looking at what's the most important aspect of this team, that's honestly, that's the last part of the roster I'm looking at.
Yeah, starting pitching is, for every team, I think, is the most important position group. And for the White Sox, that is the same, too, because of who's pitching for them. We see how much money they're giving to mediocre to above average pitchers nowadays. The reason is pitching's hard, and starting pitching, to find it is really hard. So the White Sox having at least 4 good starters and maybe a 5th is a blessing. And as Jared says, I don't worry about them necessarily getting injured. Lance Lynn did get injured last year, and same thing with Lucas Giolito, but those weren't of their careers. Like, this is not how they get down. Like, the hitters are more injury prone, and put those in quotes, than what the pitchers are. So yeah, the starting pitchers for the White Sox, and I think league wide, are the most important position group.
I was just distracted by the horn, honestly, and it was the horn comment by Baloney. You guys didn't watch. You didn't watch the World Baseball Classic last night, right?
As we've established, I don't get MLB Network.
Okay,
So.
Did
It
you?
was on Fox Sports Network.
Oh, was it?
Fox
All right.
Sports 1.
I wonder if I get that.
Yes.
I have to admit, last night's game that's like past my bedtime. So yeah, I couldn't do it.
I watched the first 2 at-bats from both Wyllys and Yoan Moncada, and after that, I was just dead dog tired. So I went to sleep at like 11.
So I stayed up. The horn
Why?
was ridiculous.
Because he's 17.
Yeah. Well, and 2, I mean, I was just, baseball was back. Like, I don't know. I'm feeling it.
You weren't bored after like 3 innings?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
that
God,
game
it
was
was
like decently close. Like
Dragging
it was
ass
it was
the whole damn time.
It wasn't. It was
Yeah,
fine.
it was.
You're all used to pitch clock.
Exactly. I've seen pitch clock. I've seen the
Pampered.
mountaintop. I can't go back down to the valley. Slow as hell.
I felt a little bit bad after making my joke that he should be like pelted with eggs and stuff. Yeah, it was. There's a Japanese makeup ad where it's like, oh, you could just see there's no mess. So they
saw it.
Put makeup on this model and then just threw eggs at her and
that's
splashed
mean.
water on her. Well, but she's got paid for it.
Well, sure. Still not
Yeah.
a glamorous job.
No. But hey, gotta show off the makeup. Someone's got. It's Mike Rowe probably covered it on Dirty Jobs.
Is there a better way to show off the makeup? But
Yeah,
that's
eggs.
the only way you can do it.
I would think eggs. Sorry, my brain now wanted to just also mention Happy International Women's Day.
After
probably should have started. I probably should have started the show with that. Shout out to Melissa, who's always hanging out with us in the chat, and to Janice Guerrero and Casey. I also saw Casey over there, so I was like, oh, I got to bring Sarah, who produced the Bet Show. I'm all over the place today, guys.
and Carmi V too.
And Carmi V.
I forgot. Bears.
Bears.
I saw her last night with Mark Carmen.
Here?
No, they were in the NBC Sports Chicago show.
There you go.
Together.
Let's go to 2023 projections, though, because we talked about 2021. They got 5 pitchers who pitched 130 innings or more. Last year, they only had 3 pitchers do that, even though Lucas was injured. He still posted 30 games for him last year, but Cease, Giolito, and Cueto were the only ones over 130. But Fangraphs Steamer has the White Sox, 5 guys projected to go over 140 innings pitched. Dylan Cease at 188, Lance Lynn at 183, Lucas Giolito at 176, Clevenger at 151, and Michael Kopech at 147. I think the most surprising part there is Michael Kopech. I know he told you he wants to pitch 180 and 200 innings. I know you have a trivia question stemming off of that article as well. People can go check out that article at allchgo.com. But Kopech pitching 147, I think the White Sox would be thrilled if he did that.
Maybe. I mean, listen, he's healthy, right? I mean, he's obviously we know that he's maybe just a tick behind some of the other guys because he wasn't able to focus on those, pitch tweaks and all that mechanics stuff during the offseason when he was trying to get himself healthy. But guess what? He's healthy now. And as he keeps reminding us, as people keep reminding you, as Baseball Reference will remind you when you go look at his page and his time in this organization, not a kid anymore. We treat him like, one day he's going to be this great guy that the White Sox can unleash on the rest of baseball. He's been in this organization for a long time. That trade was made in 2016. It is 2023. He is ready. He is in terms of his body. He is a veteran, right? He's a finished product, so to speak. Obviously, he's got a lot to do in logging those innings and having that success that everybody's projected for him. But I think that those goals for him They might sound hyperbolic because, as you've pointed out, so few pitchers reach those kind of numbers today, but he should be expected to throw a ton of innings. He should be expected to stop with the injuries all the time and be able to go out there and every fifth day throw 6 innings. And that's what he wants to do. That's what the White Sox want him to do. You talk about, what are their internal expectations for him? They're to be good enough and healthy enough to make a 147 inning season look like a small number.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want for that to be sort of the low end of his inning total, across maybe a few years of his career. Because he's been here for a while. This isn't some young kid that we're kind of waiting on to see him realize his potential. There have been other factors that have kept him away from the field and off of the mound. But I mean, this is what he was brought to the White Sox to be. He was brought here to be a starting pitcher and really more of a middle, top of the rotation kind of guy. And yeah, again, there's stuff that has gotten in the way of that happening to this point, but I still think, I'm a little, 147 feels like a lot for him based on what he's done so far, but based on the kind of guy he is, I think that I take the over on that.
Well, I'll just say, I'll throw this criteria in there too, this little bit of it in there too. A lot of folks, Sox fans, are down on Lucas Giolito after the kind of year that he had last year. If you're one of those people, you probably think Michael Kopech is going to be one of the White Sox top 3 pitchers in 2023. Your top 3 starting pitchers should probably get over that 150 inning mark
easily.
It would not necessarily be shocking from that standpoint if he's going to be one of the top 3 pitchers on this team, and he certainly has the caliber to the ability to do it, regardless of what Lucas does this year. He should be expected to go over that number.
I know you're the math guy on the show, but I just did some quick math. If he pitches 147 innings in the 25 starts that he did last year, I know one was a short one where he got taken out because he was injured, that would be close to 6 innings pitched, 588. That would lead, I think, last year's team of pitchers as far as per start, innings per start, which is very, very hard to believe that Michael Kopech will be that guy. So I got to think that he's got to be healthy enough to pitch 30 innings, and that 147 comes closer to the 5 innings that he's used to pitching. So I'm not sure if he can pitch. Like 147 is a low number, and so, I'll go over if I expect him to be better. But I don't see him being as good as they say, because I believe that he is a little bit more injury prone than other players are on that pitching staff. So 147 might be in the driver's seat for him, especially if he makes 25 starts. I'll actually be happy about that, because that's pretty good for him. That's what he did last year, and I think growing off of that would be nice.
Are you just doing innings pitched divided by games started or games pitched?
Innings pitched divided by games started.
Yeah, Cueto last year was 6.3. So.
I mean, not on the team. I'm saying people on the team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got you. He's clarifying.
He's persona non grata anymore.
So out of Cease, Giolito, Lynn, Kopech. Got you. I mean, you even talk about just the maturity, like the player that he was when he was in 2016, and just physical maturity in 2016. Then you look at him in the Futures game in 2018. Him on that Miami mound, he looks very thin. Like his face he looks like a completely different person.
Yep.
Now he's got a beard, long hair, but like the body definitely looks like that of a starting pitcher. He seemed very wiry. He seemed kind of like a little bit like Gumby, like a little bit like just long limbs coming at you in 2018. But now it feels like a pitcher, just like a full kind of like Noah Syndergaard man coming at you. So
he's a big guy. I mean,
He's muscly.
Yeah.
He's filled out.
He's a big dude.
Is he finally bigger than Lucas Giolito? Because I remember last year Lucas came in all yoked, and I was like, man, he's making Michael Kopech look small.
It's hard to say that anybody looks bigger than someone who's 6'7".
Yeah.
I mean musculature.
Yeah.
Like, was he
muscle wise? I think Kopech looks more muscular, but Giolito's so tall and broad shouldered that he makes everybody look small.
Well, how does Giolito look compared? Just like he kind of looked just a little skinny. I mean, it's just like he looks skinnier, like visibly, like just looking at like last year spring training compared to this year. But like did he lose definition in muscle? Like I don't know. Like how does that show up in like professional athletes? Like does Kopech just look more filled out?
Baseball's different than basketball, which is different than football. I mean, like how many of the Blackhawks, if they walk down the street, are you going to be like, oh my God, that dude's jacked? You know what I mean? Versus the Bulls, who basically every pro basketball player looks muscly and superhero-y kind of sometimes, whereas baseball players, it varies by position, it varies by every individual. You have a wide array of physical shapes on a baseball roster.
Some of those guys, you look at them and you're like, how do you do this? How does that body produce what it does? But
yeah, Duncan Keith's not that big. I saw him one time at Wishbone. I was like, that man plays hockey? More power to him. He's like my height, but, filled out a little bit more. Not as flappy.
Who's the dude from the Netherlands? Wilder Ballinger?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that guy. I mean, he's got your mean Mercedes going on. So
man after my own heart.
Yeah, and your mean's looking all different now, too. Go look up. You showed Kevin Kaduk pictures of what your mean looks like now.
Jacked up arms and slim waist.
Yeah, looking like he edited himself on a photo editor. Let's go to the projections or my odds for most innings pitched. Dylan Cease is the leader, minus 115. He's made over 30 starts in every single season that he has been a major league pitcher. Lance Lynn at plus 100. We've seen him get up to 180 before, I think 3 times you said, in his career. Lucas Giolito has led the team back in 2021 in innings pitched. He's at plus 350. Then Clevenger at plus 1750, so 175 to 1, and then Michael Kopech, or that'd be 17.5 to 1, and then Michael Kopech at 18 to 1. Clevenger has reached 200 innings pitched in his career before, but looking at this, like, who do you guys have to put your money on? Who would you put your money on to lead the team in innings pitched in 2023?
I mean, I think it could be any one of those top 3 guys. I mean, I think there's so much around Lucas because of what happened last year that a lot of folks would not lean in his direction, but this is a guy who was looking like one of them workhorse type starting pitchers 3 years in a row, basically. And for him to bounce back, like, I mean, he said about the body, we were talking about, him losing weight and everything. He says, listen, when I was having my success, this is what my body was like. So I said, all right, let's go down to that. It makes a lot of sense. And if he can bounce back from a performance standpoint, we know, you just read it off the number from last year when, by his measures, by a lot of fans' measures, he was no good at all, and he still logged that many innings in a season where the production wasn't there. If he can produce, if he can perform the way he wants to, I mean, why are you taking him off the mound? I mean, there's no reason to if he can combine those two aspects of what he's done, which he has done in the past. Herb, when we talk about Lucas, we always go, man, there were those flashes. There have been those moments over his career where it's like you look at him and you say, yeah, ace, number one, the guy that can carry this, that guy's still in there. And it doesn't mean he's going to be the best on the team this year because, boy, Dylan Cease had an amazing season last year, and Lance Lynn is Lance Lynn. What I've been saying about him for the last couple of weeks. I think he can be as good as he's been in 2023. There are 3 guys that could lead this team. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go Lynn, just because I think, again, he's a guy, why are you taking him out? And I know the health stuff last year, but we saw him at the end of last year, and it looked like that was way behind him. He is ready to go right now. He threw 4 innings yesterday in a Cactus League game to set him up for Team USA here in the World Baseball Classic. I just think he's got an early start on 2023, and I think he's going to have a really big season. I think he would be my pick to lead the team in innings pitched this year.
Yeah, I like Lynn too, but I think Giolito is also, for me, one of the guys who I'm the most intrigued by, because it's not as if he hasn't done it before. We've seen the kind of pitcher that he can be when he's at his best. And we've also seen, I think he's a guy who is very introspective. I think is very thoughtful about what he's doing and what's working and what's not working. We've had the conversations with him about, when he's gone from being, really struggling on the mound to his periods of success. He's pretty open about this is what's going on with me. This is what's happening. So I have some confidence in him to really have a bounce back season in 2023. And so I kind of like him to work his way back to the top of that rotation, just in terms of performance. Whatever the order of the rotation is, that's a different conversation. But I trust that guy to have thoughtfully examined what happened with him in 2022, make the adjustments, do the work, and then the Giolito that we're going to see this year, I believe is going to be much improved. So I'm a big Lance Lynn fan. Love the guy, but I'm going to go Giolito.
Even money on Lance Lynn is the easiest one I would go with because he's led the league in innings pitched before in his career. And so I would say, like last year, even his innings pitched per start was higher than Dylan Cease's and higher than Lucas Giolito's. The only one that was higher was Johnny Cueto. So with that, with his 21 starts that he pitched, I would expect 32 this year as he usually pitches. And then he's getting the head start over all the rest of the guys by pitching in the World Baseball Classic. So beginning of the year, he'll be that much ahead of those guys. But you're giving me $3.5 dollars to my $1. Man, I'm picking Lucas Giolito because of walk year, because of what Jarrett just said. He has to, he's had times, and Vinny has said, like, times where he's been the ace, and now he's back to his actual weight where he has had success. And think about this. We have a new manager in here. He's going to be leaning on Ethan Katz and his opinion of when should I go and get this guy? And who does Ethan Katz know the best? He knows Lucas Giolito the best. And so he'll know, like, he's in trouble. He's laboring right now. He's a little tired, so go and get him. And I think he'll give him a little bit more rope with Lucas Giolito because he knows the man a little bit more than everybody else. I mean, he knows everybody, but he knows.
He's been pitching coach since 2021, and
I understand,
Dylan,
but
Lance,
he knows
Kopech.
him since high school, so he knows the actual person, and when he's laboring, when he's telling the truth, when he's lying to him. And so I think that Pedro will be leaning on Ethan Katz more than what Tony would be leaning on Ethan Katz. Not a slight to Tony, just a thing that I have observed, that I think that the man will be more collaborative in his managing style.
I agree with that, but I don't know if that. I mean, Lance Lynn has thrown 200 innings 3 times. I think that's just, the horse might go farther rather than, I don't know. I don't know if that's dependent on the relationship, really.
I'm just saying, like, won't you think that Pedro will be like, I don't know when to take him out? And
I agree, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if that rope is longer for Lucas compared to Lance Lynn because they knew him since he was in high school. Just like, Lance Lynn is a proven MLB pitcher, and I would say a more proven MLB pitcher, so I don't know why that rope wouldn't be longer. I mean, he's a pitching coach.
Because the relationship's different.
I disagree.
Okay. It's not a bad thing.
No, I know. I'm just trying to.
Lance Lynn might fight you if you try to take him out.
I agree.
Of the game,
He might bite.
I mean,
we saw Joe McEwen almost get eaten.
That's what it might boil down to: is who are you most intimidated to go and take the ball from on the mound?
Yeah,
there's only one answer to that question.
That might make it easier for him to take the ball from Lucas. Like, I don't want you to get hurt, man. I got to protect you.
Do it in the clubhouse. Do it in the dugout. Hey, that's 6 innings.
buddy.
Good job, Lance. Get your ass out.
Hold him back.
And then you can fight in the clubhouse. You don't have to fight on the mound.
Just pass him a note.
You're gonna have to have 2 guys. You have to have 2 guys set up behind him to grab him so he doesn't come at you.
Or it's probably better, when they tell you to break up in public because it won't be a scene. Do it in 5 2/3. He can't fight you on the field. He may take you in the clubhouse a little later after, but you have some reinforcements. Hey, I'm taking Lance out. Go in the clubhouse and have a cop ready for me so he don't beat my ass, type of thing.
You're gonna tase Lance Lynn if he gets a little bit too out of hand. All right, I will say Lance Lynn. So I guess my odds are kind of crap because I had Dylan as the favorite. I just don't know if he's going to be able to hit 184 again with walking 78 guys. I don't know if that's a fixed problem. It just actually keeps getting worse and worse, folks. At least him walking players. So, I mean, he's a really great pitcher. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if that's going to lead to more innings. We saw Lance Lynn, once healthy down the stretch, 72 strikeouts, 6 Ks. You already said it. I mean, he pitched more innings pitched than Dylan. If he throws 32 innings, I think he absolutely will lead this team innings pitched. And I think the one thing, too, is he is hitting the ground running, and Lance Lynn is a guy that can throw complete games. We saw it in his first start with the White Sox in 2021. He might have 2 complete games just because he's ready to go and everyone else isn't up to that speed. So I really like Lance Lynn. I probably shouldn't be a bookie is what I learned from this entire thing.
Here's the question though, and Steven, if you wouldn't mind, could you minimize the comments for a section here so we don't give this away to folks?
This is the trivia.
Will any of the starting pitchers on the White Sox become the first White Sox pitcher in 5 seasons to hit 200 innings? Because, Steven, hold on. Do you know who the last White Sox pitcher to log 200 innings in one season is? You don't have to go quite that far back.
You said 5 seasons.
It's 5 seasons ago?
So we're going back to 2018.
Jesus. Ugh, I got to think about terrible.
Von Nova?
It is not Avant Champagne Supernova.
Is it Jose Quintana?
It is not Jose Quintana. Jared, you got a guess?
Well, Quintana was going to be my guess. 2018. It's, oh, gosh.
2018 White Sox. That's
let's
just
Steve
terrible.
make
I'm
his
trying
guess.
to, yeah.
It's not Jose
And
Quintana.
he wasn't on
I
the
gotta
team in
know-
18 either.
Is it Dylan Covey?
It is not Dylan Covey. No.
Close.
I'm sure somebody
Also,
in the
you'll
comments has
remember
it.
that 5 seasons ago, Jose Quintana was on the Cubs.
Yeah. I'm
It's
sure
not
somebody in the
Shields, was
comments
it?
has it.
It was big game James
James Shields.
Way to go,
James
G.
Shields.
the last White Sox pitcher to
Yeah.
hit 200 innings in a single season.
Way to
It
go,
makes sense
G.
why I
James
blocked that
Shields.
out.
All right.
They just let him go.
Well, here's the thing.
go out
It was.
there.
We were having the conversation about what we've just talked about before the show, and Steven, our producer, is like, really? Lance Lynn? He's so old. But the last starting pitcher to log 200 innings was a guy at the very end of his career, a guy who had been around for a very long time. You know, there's something about those veteran pitchers who have been around for a long time, who know how to do it. They know how to take care of their bodies. I mean, guys, there's a reason Justin Verlander won the Cy Young last year. There's a reason that the best 1-2 in starting pitching 1-2 in baseball right now might be Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer in New York. I mean, these guys just know how to do it, and I think Lance Lynn is one of those guys, and that's part of the reason that I would have the confidence that he could be the first guy since Shields to get to 200 innings, because it's not about this very careful workload management thing that you know, everybody is incorporating with the young pitchers. You know, I mean, you guys talk up Sandy Alcantara all the time. This is a guy who you know, is an incredible talent, but like, the Marlins are going to be very careful with him, right? I mean, just the
Well, so 12 pitchers since 2021 have thrown 200 innings.
and he's one of them, of course, because I brought it up. Yeah,
Alcantara has done it twice in 2021 and
There you go.
2022.
Yeah.
He's the only guy to do it in both years. But even to your point, one of the guys in 2021 with, you know, everything that was going on in 20, Adam Wainwright.
There you go. See,
so yeah.
there's no leash on these guys. That's the thing, and it's like you almost, whether you're the manager, the front office, a fan base, you trust them to handle themselves more than you trust anybody else to do it. And I think Lance Lynn falls into that category.
He
And
would
I
just
think
have to-
there's
Sorry, go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, there's multiple factors to that, but yeah, you know that the guy knows himself, and it's a physical. There's a physical aspect of it where a guy knows how he's feeling and how he's doing. But I think there's also just you've done it so many times, you've logged so many innings that when an inning starts to go a little south or you have a rough patch during a start, you know, it's kind of trite a little bit, but like a veteran pitcher isn't as easily rattled by some of those kinds of things. And as a manager, I may feel like I trust that Lance Lynn can handle this. He's worked himself into a jam, but he, you know, mentally, physically, he's up to this task where, yeah, maybe that's why you get the Verlanders and the Wainwrights and some of these guys who it's like, that guy knows what he's doing. I'm going to leave him out there and let him take care of this.
It seems like a hefty ask nowadays in pitching, but pitching 200 innings in 32 starts is only 6 1/4. So 6 1/4 innings pitched each start you go out, and I can definitely see Lance Lynn doing that.
Yeah. I just looking at the players who have done it, Alcantara twice, Zach Wheeler, Walker Buehler, Adam Wainwright, Aaron Nola, Miles Michaelis, Corbin Burns, Framber Valdez, Garrett Cole, Merrill Kelly, Shane Bieber. I mean, a lot of veterans in there.
And you're just listing off the best pitchers in baseball, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
like, it's very possible that Dylan Cease does hit that number this year. He was only 16 away last year, and I think that's the closest anybody's got since to 200 since Shields, if I'm not mistaken, on the White Sox. You know, so I think that is a point in his favor. He just did it, basically. He's just gotta go a little bit more here and there, and Dylan Cease is right at 200.
Even the guy that you brought up, Verlander, who finished first, 175. So I mean, he was still about 25 away, but
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
missed
still
significant time, too.
Yeah, 170 still, you know, significant. Do you have anything to add?
No.
I thought you cut you off there. Looking up most innings pitched since 2021 just to make sure it was Dylan. Oh, now it's bringing me back to Ed Walsh. No one asked about that. 2018 was the year, right?
Ed Walsh
Yeah.
pitched 350 innings.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. Ed Walsh pitched until his arm fell off.
These youngsters out here.
Whoa. No, it's not Dylan Cease. This is going to be fun. All right.
Ah, Jesus.
James Shields, number 1, 2018. Dylan Cease, number 4, in 2022 at 184.
Nova got close, so I think Nova's one of the high ones there, yeah.
Nova's 3 in 2019 at 187. Who is 2 and 5? It's the same player.
Lucas Giolito.
No. Lucas Giolito 6, 7, and 8, and 11.
He hasn't gotten to 180, right, Lucas?
No, Lucas has gotten to 178, 176, 173,
right,
and 161.
Whew.
It is a current White Sox. Yeah.
What?
You got exactly. You got the Jeopardy music. We're gonna be here for a while. No, I want you guys to.
It's a current White Sox.
Ronaldo Lopez.
Lopez
that makes sense.
has thrown 2 innings or 2 seasons with 180 plus.
Yeah.
I know. It's just like
His
Guys,
2018 was great.
It was not too long ago when Reynaldo was the best pitcher and best starting pitcher the White Sox had.
Yeah.
I know he's a starter, obviously, and he had the 15 case. Should he be back in the rotation?
No.
Why not?
They found his role.
Because the year
he got
after
LASIK.
the year after he was the best pitcher in the Sox rotation, he was the worst.
Terrible.
And so that'll happen. And now he's coming off a year where he was very good at something. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Sean.
I don't know. I mean, hey, he can now max effort himself out there, but should he be only pitching 57 innings though, or like 60? I mean, could we turn him into like 100+ innings? I mean, why not?
Closers get paid too.
So do middle relievers. I mean, Andrew Miller got paid.
Yeah. I mean, isn't he more valuable as a 7th, 8th, 9th inning guy than he is as a long man in that bullpen? Absolutely, right?
Well, and especially so this year, given Craig Kimbrell's situation, you don't know, where your slots.
Hendricks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Craig Kimbrell is a ghost of White Sox past.
Liam Hendricks, of course. So, where you're slotting in some of those guys is a little less clear, and so. Yeah, I think you leave Lopez in the role that you've had him.
I say the same thing for Jimmy Lambert. You found something that they do pretty well. Keep them in those roles.
Yeah, but Jimmy Lambert was never an MLB starter. I mean, Ronaldo Lopez has thrown like 400 innings as a starter.
I understand.
Well, and here's the thing,
that
too.
should be enough for you to say, okay, he's not a starter, and now he does
he
this.
got LASIK.
He's pretty good.
Well, but now
It's not a joke. He can
I
see.
understand.
Here's the thing, Sean. At this point, he can't.
I know.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't want to.
No, I'm just saying that his arm is not tuned up for that right now. Had you made this decision in October, that's one thing, right? You know what I mean? Okay, hey, Reynaldo, you're going to be that 5th starter guy. Go back to work, and hopefully you can be worked up by the time spring training rolls around. That is something that I could have seen happening. Still unlikely for the reasons we just discussed. But at this point, that is a question that doesn't need to come up again until we're talking about 2024.
Right, and James said too that Lopez was at driveline and that he focused on late inning relief, and they mapped out on how to get his explosiveness up. So he is turning his body into a late reliever type. So, and hey, as Melissa says, right now we need a closer. I know you don't think he's got closer makeup.
No, I don't say that he doesn't have closer makeup, but you don't want to test that in your year where you're supposed to be competing. I would rather go with more proven guys like Graveman and or Kelly.
Well, and also, though, the way they have it set up, what they appear to be doing, they don't need a guy with closer makeup. They just need a guy who's not going to go out there and for lack of a better term, crap the bed in the 9th inning if they put him out there, right? I mean, if they can go to whatever the matchups say, Joe Kelly, Kendall Graveman, Reynaldo Lopez, Jimmy Lambert. When Garrett Crochet's healthy, they could be Garrett Crochet. Whenever they feel like it. And it doesn't need to be, well, does Reynaldo or Kendall or Garrett have that it factor that makes you such a great closer? Well, it doesn't matter. You're just filling in for the guy who very much does in Liam Hendricks. Go ahead and just pitch this inning, and you might not be pitching the 9th inning for another week and a half.
When you brought that up, Ronaldo Lopez is a free agent after this year. Man. And he's only making $3 million. Man, you got to keep that sumbitch somehow. I mean, that was a great trade for the White Sox. Good job, Rick Hahn.
Do you want anything?
It's just speaking of like it factors with closers. I think that's a shorter list than maybe we realize. There's not that many who really fit into that role as like the closer for the team. That's the guy. So I think they're okay to go with let's Graveman here, Kelly here. What's the matchup look like? Who fits best in that spot? And don't need to worry about it.
And really, Sean, I'm sure, too, that there's a lot of, folks that pore over the data like yourself that probably would argue that's the way to go. You know what I mean? Like that playing those matchups and using your entire bullpen to get those final 3 outs versus using that one guy to get it. There's probably a lot of things that say that is a good strategy. I always come back to that it factor, right? To the fact that you can trust Liam Hendricks as a small number of baseball players that will go out there and dominate that 9th inning.
I think nothing really is stood out about either having that guy or not having that guy. I think most teams just have that guy. I don't know. I mean, it just
but I
seems
think
like
isn't that tradition more than anything else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's say Liam Hendricks wasn't in the situation he's actually in. Let's say he's just not on the White Sox anymore. The White Sox have the bullpen they currently have. Are you looking for one of the guys on that bullpen
think Reynaldo
to be that guy?
I think if Liam Hendricks isn't on this team, I think they immediately make Reynaldo Lopez the closer just because he has that longevity and that possible ability to
But he's never been tested to see whether he can be
right. But
that
if
guy.
they don't have the safety net in Liam, I think that I think that they don't really have to test him to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? This is in a world without Liam, I guess.
I'm just saying the bullpen they have right now is full of very good players.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it full of a guy, because Liam Hendricks is not a part of it at the moment, but in this hypothetical world where he isn't at all, do they have the guy to put in the 9th inning, or do they just say, well, this is a baseball team, we have to have a closer, we're going to go ahead and pick one of them to be the 9th inning guy? Or is closer by committee, even in a bullpen that's very talented, the way to go in certain situations?
I would say no.
This is more baseball philosophy.
They don't have the guy.
Pedro.
They don't have the guy on the team, but I believe Ronaldo can be the guy.
I just think that if you have a guy that can do it, you have that guy do it. I think that's mainly what I don't think there's any data. Just basically, if you have an Edwin Diaz, there's no reason not to have an Edwin Diaz.
Might be the kind of thing that emerges during the course of the season, where going into the season you kind of feel like there's not really a guy, but at some point one of these guys may establish themselves.
And Pedro's made that caveat a couple of times where it's like, we really want to just do whatever the matchups say, whatever is best, and then he'll throw in there, but if someone emerges. Like if Reynaldo Lopez becomes your level closer, or heck, Kendall Graveman, who's, done it before in a small sample size, maybe he's the guy that, just like, all right, all of a sudden he's, to use a White Sox bullpen thing, maybe he's imbued with the power of Thor all of a sudden and gets that hammer, and he's going out there and he's doing Liam Hendricks type stuff.
Is that still a thing this year? I know it's...
Well, they've changed it up every year. So Liam's first year, 2 years ago, it was the Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Okay.
But they probably realized that, why do we want to be the bad guy? We would prefer to be the good guy. So they went ahead and went with the Thor hammer, and who knows? Maybe Liam's working on something else right now for 2023.
Well, and Graveman's thing's weird too, because in Seattle, he was the closer, but he was also a former starter. He never really seemed to be the guy, but then they traded him, and then the team was like, what the fuck, you got rid of our guy? Right. So yeah, I mean, maybe a guy just ends up emerging, but we'll see. I think if you could find a guy that I think works consistently, I think that probably is what's best, but we'll see. It's a unique scenario. We do know, we're talking about the qualities and characteristics of a closer. You need balls, friends. And our next one, Roman also will help you if you have balls as well. Talk about
questionable.
No. Most guys want a better sex life, and about 50% of men have symptoms that get in the way of wanting or enjoying sex. Do you want a better sex life?
Yes.
If so, you're not alone. Roman is here to help. They're the digital health clinic for men, addressing a variety of sexual health needs and offering genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain a strong erection. Not only do they offer medication, but they also offer discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. With men who have low T, getting testosterone levels back to normal can help increase your libido, and Roman offers a testosterone test, which includes lab processing, and if it's appropriate for you, treatment for low testosterone. There are no waiting rooms, no hassle, and straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your home. If medication or testing is appropriate for you, Roman will send it directly right to your door. Everything arrives in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping, so you'll just feel comfortable. If you got issues, you get it handled with, and Roman will help you out. So to learn more on how you could achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to row.co/CHGO to get 20% off your first order. That's row.co/CHGO. Also got to let you know about Pins and Aces. Steven, golf course.
Oh, it's almost that time.
It's almost that time, and you got to look fresh. You got to look cool. Go head out to pinsandaces.com. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear, and our guy Steven gets tons of compliments on and off the course when he is rocking his Pins and Aces swag. They are family-owned golf and apparel business, and they make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and even our favorite beer sleeve. They're an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag and keeps drinks cold the entire round. Our friends at Goose Island make a 15 case. Again, buy 2 golf beer sleeves, and then you could put half in one beer sleeve, half in another, and then chug a beer, friends. So go to pinsandaces.com and use code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. World Baseball Classic. I was making the point that the guy with the horn should be pelted with eggs, and then I got distracted. Going back to that, he apparently is from Houston, follows the team around. The team loves him. They know him. I rescind what I said about the horn man. It was just 10 o'clock, and my girlfriend was falling asleep on the couch, and I was like, oh, great, I get to watch baseball. And then it wasn't pleasant. You can't really fall asleep with that happening. So I was a little bit ticked off. It became less notable through the game. So I'm happy that we get to experience live baseball, because even the DR played the Braves, and their general manager, Nelson Cruz, hit a home run, and that place went crazy in an exhibition game. So I'm all ready for baseball, and it's real. The World Baseball Classic is real to me, damn it.
But it is real. It is happening. Real. Yeah, it isn't a cartoon or anything. Yeah,
it's real stuff. It's real baseball.
Hey, man, I keep saying, these guys care. They care.
They do.
And it's awesome to see these guys get to do this. I think it's really fun for them. I think it is maybe a bigger sell, a harder sell for a fan base, who very much, again, we talk about this all the time, baseball being a local sport, right? I mean, if you are a White Sox fan, you're watching all the White Sox games, you probably aren't watching as many Dodger games or as many Mariner games or as many Yankee games or anything like that. And so this is even a step removed from the other teams in Major League Baseball, but I just think it's awesome for those guys that get to participate, and whether that means, Mike Trout, the best baseball player ever, getting to suit up for Team USA, or the guy who's suiting up for the Netherlands, the guy who's from Amsterdam and gets to play for the Netherlands team. They get to have a similar experience, and I think that's really cool.
I think part of the fun too is getting to see games in other countries and seeing those fans and the way that the fans take in the game, because I forget what year it was, but one of the first World Baseball Classics that I watched, that was like my biggest takeaway, was seeing the games that were played in Japan or seeing games that were played in places like the Dominican Republic, and just like, man, they watch in such a different way than fans do in the United States. And it on my personal sports related bucket list is I want to go see a game in Japan. Like, those people are having a good time. There's like a literal buzz the entire time that you don't have anywhere here.
Well, I did think that no beer snakes over there. I haven't seen any beer snakes.
Thank Jesus.
Thinking of buzz.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a plus.
Still a buzz of some kind. They're just not snaking their beer cups, perhaps.
They're a little bit more cleanly, I guess.
I was going to say that's my biggest complaint. Do whatever you want in the outfield, that's fine. But that's garbage. You don't need garbage. Don't play with garbage.
It's actual garbage.
It's art.
When
it's garbage.
It's community art.
It's one of those things where you did it once and you get it gets a reaction, but when it's August and we're still making the beer snakes, I'm like,
and I'm also trying to watch the damn game. Can I watch the game instead of you doing this damn beer snake? Got it. You guys like to drink beer. Congratulations. But the World Baseball Classic, I don't know if you guys seen these little vignettes they've done on both Team Italy and Team Czech Republic, but they're very enthralling. Team Italy is coached and managed by Mike Piazza, and he took all the players who are going to be participating to Italy for a little dinner.
Because as we found out yesterday, hardly anybody from Team Italy or hardly anybody on Team Italy is from Italy. So.
Exactly. And so hey, we're going to convene here. We're going to eat Italian food. This is what you're playing for, this country. And Czech Republic is a bunch of actual accountants, actual teachers are going to be playing versus Major League Baseball players all day long, and they're excited. Their level of excitement is through the roof because they got qualified because they beat powerhouse Germany to get into the World Baseball Classic. They're going to get absolute slaughtered because they only have Eric Sogard and a bunch of teachers and like a principal.
A fireman.
Yeah, literally, a fireman is the one who closed out the game versus Germany. And so
wow, you can't script that, can you?
Exactly. And so it is so, like, as Jared said, it's so enthralling to see other teams of other countries get excited about baseball because Czech Republic, probably like their 6th or 7th most popular sport is baseball, and they're out there just giving it all.
High?
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Yeah, it is pretty high. I know they love hockey. I know they probably love soccer.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jaromir Jagr.
And basketball, too. So, yeah, it's way down there. But these guys are just over the moon for their 3 or 4 games they get to play and then get their ass sent back to the Czech Republic.
Well,
I think I got a bet against Mike Piazza now that he took the entire team to Italy and was like, this, friends, is what you're playing for.
He's like, Forza. He said it's
build-
so American, too.
man.
Forza.
He's trying. Mike Piazza's
The
trying.
question
build
is,
this connection.
had Mike Piazza been to Italy before that trip? Was that just as much for him as it was for
No,
that?
he's been to Italy multiple times, and he played for Team Italy, I think, in one of the first World Baseball Classics. But yeah, he's been there for a minute. He doesn't speak the language as you should if you've been there a couple of times. Yeah, because he spoke that Forza like an English person.
I do enjoy some of the players who
Because he is.
I mean,
Isn't he from California?
yeah.
I would at least say, put a little funk on that. Forza.
His uncle is Tommy Lasorda.
Put a little funk on it. No, Benintendi did not make it. I don't know if he turned down the invite, but he didn't make the team.
I mean, I would assume he would have made the team if he tried. Yeah, right.
If he wanted to.
There's 8 million Royals on the team. He could have been joining his former teammate Vinny Pasquantino or Naperville's finest Nicky Lopez in the Italian team.
Yeah.
But he's like, nah, I'm good.
I
I don't want to go to Italy.
Got to protect
With Mike Piazza.
Yeah, with Mike Piazza.
Got to protect the $75 million body. The whole what's it called? The medical was all delayed because he was on vacation. Was he getting his Italian vacation out of the way because he wasn't going to get the Mike Piazza trip?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Remember we were all worried about the Andrew Benintendi medical because Carlos Correa exists?
We all were not.
Yes. So you got a mouse in your pocket?
Well, it was delayed. It was weird. Let's get into some stuff that happened, though. The horn guy was, a minor detail. Mainly what you wanted to focus on last night in the Cuba and Netherlands game was Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert batting 2 and 3. Nothing really to report. Luis Robert did have a double. He had 3 strikeouts. And then after his double, he tried to advance on a ball that almost got away from Chadwick Trump. It did not. And then he was going to third, went back to second, and slid awkwardly, got tagged out. So it wasn't a banner day for Cuba as they lost, I think, 4-2.
He's used to those bigger bases already. That's the problem.
Yeah,
But he's always had issues with going down, sliding.
the book is international on Luis Robert because they were just throwing him sliders, and he was swinging at all those some bitches. I think they only saw 2 fastballs in his 4 at bats, and all the rest were sliders or curveballs, and they know. And he was not, spitting on them like a major league player should be at this point. But it's early in his spring training too. But we did see Yoan Moncada in his first at bat spit on a couple close pitches. So it was good to see him looking at the ball, seeing a little deeper, and taking his walk when it was presented to him.
Yeah, the stuff that was really just worrisome from Luis, if we want to pull up the swing stuff, you're right, 2 fastballs for Luis. One of them was just completely whiffed on. The guy Tom DeBlock, who started for the Netherlands, wasn't throwing anything that special. Stephen Gottritt in the comments was bringing up Yariel Rodriguez, who for Cuba, mainly as a relief pitcher over in Japan, I think his longest outing was like 1 2/3 innings. They pitched him for 65 pitches. He went 4 innings. Jesus. They worked him. So that's why I'm thinking right now, the Lopez. I mean,
Who's the Cuban manager?
If a team's desperate enough, they're going to pitch him 180 innings. But yeah, I just found it to be fascinating that Yoan and Luis were really dependent on for their offense, and I mean they looked kind of rough against some not top tier pitching. I mean, Yariel Rodriguez was the best pitcher in that game for Cuba, and the Netherlands really didn't throw out anyone of major league caliber, all minor league guys, and the White Sox players didn't look that great.
And I try not to overreact to something like this, even though the WBC does feel like a bigger stage, even though as far as like the caliber of some of the players, it's might even be a step down in some cases, but it is a little concerning when you see those two guys struggling against the kinds of pitchers they were facing. But I try not to overreact and remove myself from that context and just think, if this was an ordinary spring training game on March 7th, would I be that concerned that Luis Robert struck out that many times? Probably not. Yeah, I'm trying not to overreact to one World Baseball Classic game.
He would have hit the ball that struck him out in the first inning 490 feet if it was a regular season game, because it was the biggest cement mixer slider I've ever seen in my life. Just right down the plate. Didn't do any movement. He could have murdered that ball. It's a different atmosphere out there. He's first time ever playing in Taiwan, I assume, and probably didn't know this pitcher's stuff. So, yeah, I'm not going to overreact to what he's doing. So, in the middle of the year, that ball's getting murdered.
He's amped, too.
Oh, yeah.
Think how excited he must be to be playing for Team Cuba right now.
Yeah, it's got to feel different. You put on that uniform, and it's, there's a different, the energy changes.
Panama was just in their first wave ball. Dun, dun. We need like the drum like fill after that as a sound drop. But I mean that was their first time in the World Baseball Classic. They won 12 on the home country, Taipei. I mean they were probably feeling juiced. But, they were swinging and missing.
They've got Sean Anderson bulletin board material hanging up in the clubhouse. That's
good.
Why.
I'll put a lot for Luis Robert.
Yeah, Chinese Taipei is not good at baseball. Netherlands is a little bit better. They got actual major league players on their team.
They didn't have any major league pitchers, friends.
No,
that's all I'm saying. I just wanted to see a little bit more from Luis, and maybe it just was a lot reminiscent of 2022 Luis Robert Jr. and Yoan Moncada. Because again, you mentioned the scouting reports. We don't think the White Sox in 2022 had that good of a scouting reports. Pedro Grifol is now the guy. He's studied. He's done all the work. He loves all those numbers. Not to try to say Tony La Russa isn't, because there's reports that he's spent just as much time as the clubhouse as Pedro Grifol has. There's not like he's spending an inordinate amount of time. But anyways, we just felt like the scouting reports for the White Sox were pretty difficult. Anytime there was a right-hander with a slider, the White Sox were going to struggle. It just seemed like the same thing with Luis Robert yesterday. Hopefully that changes with more White Sox data, more data on MLB pitchers. But it is concerning just because it's still the same thing. It's still bad mechanics. It's not like, you could see that from a mile away. I mean, he's swinging at balls that are in the left-handed batter's box and his back foot is completely moving out and he's like bending over. It's ugly. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, April 4th against the Giants, but right now,
or in any of the 4 games prior to that.
Yeah, right. I just thought of a phrase.
He's like, I'm out. I only play at home.
Robert though, he was consistently facing pitches on the outside part of the plate, and you just wonder like if that's how you beat him. But I was even looking up like him versus sliders last night. He's 35th against sliders that are above 79 miles per hour, according to run values for batters since 2020, and he's 35th. On pitches under that threshold as well. So it's like he's just kind of, he's not bad. He's positive run value against that pitch. So it's weird how he looks just so bad on certain pitches. You really throw it down the middle. That man's going to hit it 4,000 feet, but, just kind of move it a little bit over.
Well, in Chinese Taipei, it's probably meters.
Probably meters. It is probably meters. So the DR played today. And we got to take another break. We'll talk about where Luis Robert played. We talked about the most important position players, and we mentioned Luis as an outfielder.
Aloy.
What did I say? Luis.
Aloy
as an outfielder. Aloy played left field today for the Dominican Republic. Today is we got to get into your DraftKings pick of the week. The pick of the week for CHGO Bets Daily is 2-0 so far, and the one that Cody and I have come up with today is Texas Tech +4. Texas Tech +4. They're taking on West Virginia in the Big Ten tournament. We are 2-0. We went with
Big 12 tournament.
Big 12. My Lord.
That's fine.
Went with St. Thomas on Monday at +13. Yesterday we went with Fairleigh Dickinson +4. 2-0. We're going with Texas Tech +4. All right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook.
It was an easy pick because they're not all the way Dickinson. They're just Fairleigh Dickinson.
Just Fairleigh.
How long have you been holding on? You have no kids. 0. How are you telling these dad jokes?
Ready to go. Ready to go.
Download the app now and sign up with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Also got to let you know about FOCO. Chicago already got the best coverage for your favorite sports team, so get fitted in the best sports gear around. FOCO has you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leaders in sports merch and collectibles. FOCO, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the football fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. So check out FOCO.com, that's FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. And got to let you know about Game Time. I got Marcos hanging out in the comments, and I know that he's always buying tickets on Game Time. He's always taking advantage of all the great deals that are going on in Chicago and, hitting up events. We're going to the Big Ten tournament tomorrow. Go and buy some tickets on Game Time if you want to go see the Big Ten tournament. Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. And if you've ever dreamed of a perfect seat, whether it be at the 50-yard line, behind home plate, floor seats at a concert, right on the glass at a hockey game, it is possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on seats you never thought you could buy. So if you're really excited to go see Ohio State play tomorrow, hopefully they win. We'll see them play Iowa possibly. Maybe it will be Wisconsin. I don't know. But if you really want to get floor side tickets, check out Game Time right before the game starts. You won't find a better deal this season than on Game Time. It was created by the fans for the fans, and it guarantees the lowest price. If you love CHGO, then you love Game Time. Best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. Join our 15 million people who've downloaded the Game Time app. Score the best seats to all your favorite events. All right, Dominican Republic played an exhibition today. Eloy was in left field. I don't know if he played there too long, but we might see some Eloy in left field. We kind of wondered where his playing time would come from yesterday with all the players in the outfield at DH. Tough to find some spots there for him. But Tim Anderson also figuring out where he's going to be playing, how he's going to be playing with Team USA. Trey Turner, starting shortstop for Team USA. What do we expect rotation-wise? Like, will Trey Turner get 3 starts in the first 4 pool games for Team USA? Do we think Mark DeRosa will spread it out? Because Team USA, whether they're facing Great Britain with Trey Turner or Tim Anderson, I think they're going to win. Do we think this is going to be like all-star kind of pass the ball level?
I get that vibe a little bit. I mean, I think, obviously these teams are trying to win, but I mean, I remember what I keep saying. This is a Major League Baseball event. It would make sense that Major League Baseball wants to showcase all of its stars, and particularly a guy like Tim Anderson, who I will continue to argue is one of the faces of baseball because of his personality, because of we got him right there doing the bat flip. But I mean, just in general, he is a guy who kind of represents a new style of this game, and I think you're going to want to put that on display when you're trying to get people to watch this event, when you're trying to get people to watch more baseball. Tim Anderson with USA across his jersey is a pretty cool thing for a lot of people out there to see, and whether he's doing all sorts of bat flippy stuff or if he's just playing and playing well, that's a good thing to show off. So I think we'll see plenty of Tim Anderson. Listen, Trey Turner's really damn good, and so, yeah, there's going to be plenty of Trey Turner also. I don't know if anybody's going to be sitting there with a stopwatch to figure out to make sure they've got equal playing time out there, but I don't think you're looking at this like you would in a video game and being like, all right, well, Trey Turner's at the top of the depth chart. The only way we're ever going to see TA is if the pinch hitter is needed or anything like that. No, I think it'll get mixed up pretty well.
And especially in some of these early games, like you said, when you're playing somebody like Great Britain, then you can afford to, and it seems silly to even say, like, going from Trey Turner to Tim Anderson as if that's some kind of a massive downgrade or something. Every manager dreams of having that problem, but I think Vinny, it made me think about something you said earlier. With an event like this, because baseball does feel very local, there's a lot of fans that will want to watch Team USA because, if you're a Chicago fan, you're a White Sox fan, you want to watch because you want to see Tim Anderson playing. And the same as you watch some of these other countries because you want to see your guys. And a smart manager, and I believe that somebody like DeRosa is aware of that fact. And so there is a little bit of the all-star game feel to it, especially early on. Team USA is pretty stacked this year, and I think there's higher hopes this time around than maybe in years past. So as they advance further, maybe that starts to change. But again, it all feels kind of silly because you're talking about Trey Turner and Tim Anderson. So it's, I mean,
you can't lose.
Geez, yeah.
I think just as we discussed with Jose Abreu last year, how he would be off the field and he'd just be like aggravating everybody on the bench. That's kind of what Tim's going to be. He's like, you're going to have me on the bench all the time, D-Row? Hey, how about the time you did a whole damn segment of me bat flipping, talking to him? Like, put me in the damn game. And as these guys have said, Tim is a all-star shortstop, starting all-star shortstop for the AL last year. It'll be to D-Row's detriment if he's not putting him into the game as much as he can. And I know Trey Turner's good, but equal time right there should be the order of the day. I think he's probably going to start a guy versus Great Britain, and the other guy's going to get the next day start and continue to do that until you get into the elimination round. Whichever one plays the best will probably get the lion's share of the time.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. We wonder too with the whole Mookie Betts thing, where if he's going to play second base, if Jack McNeil's going to get playing time, Bobby Witt's on this team as well. He probably won't get as much run, probably the least amount of run. Just assuming with his,
he's pretty good too.
He's pretty good. Hey, maybe I don't know. I don't know. I mean, would you be shocked to see Bobby Witt outplay Tim here?
I don't think it's that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think guys are going to get starts. You go out there and play. Maybe later in the game, there's a matchup that you want to switch it up. But I think when you say all-star game kind of vibe, I get that over just stretch it over the course of a tournament versus just one night.
And I see Bobby Witt more as a pinch runner type of deal with that club. He'll get his time, but more pinch runner than the other two are going to be starting games. And you want to have a Bobby Witt in the game late in the game. If you have a slugger who's kind of slow, Bobby Witt taking over for him.
And he played third base, so he could be a defensive replacement for Nolan Arenado.
A defensive replacement for Nolan Arenado.
Thank you. That was done on purpose. Let's get to the quote just because Connor is bringing it up. Dave's bringing up D-Row as well. I guess Dave wasn't really bringing it up, but you brought up the MLB Network soapbox thing. And of course my contact got screwed up when I rubbed my eyes, so I actually can't read that.
I can read it, kind of.
No, and finally, White Sox. I just got to close.
This is from Ken Rosenthal with The Athletic.
Thank you. This is from Ken Rosenthal with The Athletic. I'm just trying to do my job. Thank you, Vinny. DeRosa said, "I need the bat flip." Anderson said, "You're going to get it." That was a first, definitely, but I think it's the right setting. We're playing exciting ball. We don't have one team behind us. We've got the whole country. Of course, they want to see something that's going to get them fired up. D-Row's whole point was like, everyone's got to be on it and, let the kids play, and you can't be showing up somebody because then that might ruin their career. I just wonder,
this is something that happened, I'm guessing. I don't pay attention to a lot of media beefs, so yeah.
In 2019, after Tim did that, the next day, Mark DeRosa was stewing
on
about
MLB
the bat
Network.
flip.
Very unhappy.
And he needed
his old school unwritten rule business.
He needed to pour his heart out about this and stand on a soapbox about how
literally
about how
Where do you find a soapbox these days?
Well, they got it for him. But he stood up there being like, everyone has to be on the same page. So if you're going to bat flip, I'm fine with you getting undressed. It's just whatever. And his whole point was, I guess they're on the same point or page here, just being like, it's the right time, right? It means something, which it's just BS. I know that it's bringing up something from 3 years ago at this point, 4 years ago at this point, from 2019. It's just weird. Like Pedro Grifol was in the other dugout as well. Like Great Britain, this guy is the first time he's representing his country. We talk about how much pride this is, and if he gets clowned on with Tim Anderson taking him deep, and Tim Anderson chucks his bat, how is that any different than Brad Keller, who's getting paid millions of dollars to go throw a baseball? Why does Brad Keller get to commit assault because he's wearing a Royals jersey and not Great Britain or Team USA? It's stupid, idiotic thinking. It's a bat, people.
Baseball players and managers long time ago
Idiots.
Didn't write it in the book. And they were like, oh, everybody should just know that you don't pimp a home run. No fun here. But now, World Baseball Classic, have all the fun you want.
Well, that's such a strange thing to suggest. But in this setting, it's okay. Don't you dare do it in a game against the Royals in, what was that, April? Wasn't that really early in the season? Not okay there, but in this setting, it's fine. I like the spirit of hey, be yourself, play the way that you play, whatever that looks like. If you're a guy that flips your bat, then flip your bat. That's the approach that I would take if I was a manager. But it's really bizarre to, lecture him from afar via your show on MLB Network. And then now that you're face to face with him in a clubhouse, say, hey, but here in this setting, it's okay. I need that bat flip. If Tim Anderson probably handled it better than I would have in his shoes.
And by the way, since you've read that DraftKings read in the Texas Tech, plus 3.5 now.
There it goes. Cody, we're making a difference. We're moving lines here. Oh,
Cody,
I thought I heard his voice.
Cody's
he gone.
Because I was trying to get at 4. It moved already.
He's off to place that bet.
So I got it at 3.5. Son of a bitch.
Hey, I got it at 3.5, but I got it at plus 118. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. I also think too, Tom Lawless has one of the best bat flips ever. Tom Lawless didn't really have a cachet to be bat flipping in the World Series against Frank Viola, who's a long tenured veteran, but he didn't get beaned or undressed.
Right.
Weirdos. Just play baseball. Anyways, that's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Jared Wyllys. Thank you for stopping by, Jared. You can follow him on Twitter at JWyllys, and it is Y's instead of I's. When's the next episode of Straight Smoke coming?
It is coming in a couple of days, Friday or Saturday. Keep a lookout for it.
And pay attention on the YouTube channel, right?
CHGO YouTube.
All right, and it's a little short. You get to smoke a little cigar with our guy Jared.
Smoke a cigar, talk some baseball. It's good stuff.
Probably some World Baseball. Maybe, I don't want to. It's your show. I don't want.
You'll have to tune in, people.
And that's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for producing the show, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with us in the chat. We will talk to you not tomorrow, but Friday at 2 p.m. We're going to the Big Ten tournament, so no show tomorrow, but we will be there on Friday at 2 p.m. So talk to you then.